Alright, so now I'm on the screen, and I'll just give you a brief review of what I use Mazinda to do. So basically, I use Mazinda on the Champaign County Assessor's website. I selected Champaign, for instance, for a township. I wanted to get the data for the owner-occupied single-family properties, submitted a query against the county records, and I was able to get page upon page upon page of output records. So for instance, if I select one of these, I see that here's the name, the mailing address, property location, and it even gives me the last sold information as well as the assessment records per year. So what I used Mazinda to do was give me just that, the name, mailing address, property, location. I didn't take the sales information, but I did take the tax assessed value. Mazinda then spit that information into a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. When that was all said and done, I had about 14,500 records. Now, just for postage alone, that would have been about $6,000, 44 cents a stamp. So that's way too broad, and plus that's outside of my market anyway. That's way too broad of a database. So I narrowed it down. My buyers specifically want Southwest Champaign, so what I did is basically I went from Excel to SQL Server back to Excel. And when I went to SQL Server, is basically I brought that spreadsheet into a SQL Server database and then created a custom query. So here's the query, and here you see are the street names from the map that I showed you earlier. I have about 300 street names in Southwest Champaign, and what I did basically was I queried a large database, which was, I call it, I think, Champaign-Urbana. I queried that database and said, give me the property information of all the properties that match these street names. So then I put that query, I put those records into another database, called it Southwest Champaign. Then I had my own specific database, I'll call it Southwest Champaign. Then what I did was I split that database into maybe like a third or so, because the entire list had some $1 million properties on there, some properties that not necessarily wouldn't have motivated sellers, but I figured I'd start with a narrow focus at first. So out of that large listing, I selected the property owners that have properties with tax assessed values of approximately $120,000 or less. So that gave me about 900 records, and that's my focus. That's my database, my farm or whatnot. So after that, to set up a mail merge, which is how I'm going to direct mail these people, I had to take the property information from this spreadsheet, this Excel spreadsheet, and put it into Excel. So here's an Excel contact group that has all of my property owners with properties of less than $120,000. I then went from Excel into a Microsoft Word document. So let me back up and just give you a little bit of background as far as the inspiration for this. As far as direct mail, I was doing research. I found Yellow Letters Complete. Pretty much, apparently there's a lot of investors that use the Yellow Letter campaign, even outside of real estate. There's a lot of people that use the Yellow Letter campaign. Basically, what it is use a personalized letter that has a handwritten envelope, red ink on the envelope, red ink on legal pad paper, and there's a high response rate. They claim 10 to 15% versus the typical 1 or 0.5 to 1% response rate of your regular direct mail campaign that's sent in mass and is just computer printed completely. So if I was to use Yellow Letters Complete now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but for me it is bad right now, because it would have cost $1,341 just to use them. Since I'm doing this myself, for 900 letters, postage is $396. The paper itself is $30. The envelopes is $124. So that breaks down to $550 for the entire campaign. So we're talking about 61 cents per letter versus the $149 per letter. So Yellow Letters Complete, actually, I think I'll try this service later on, because they actually handwrite the letters for you, which is something I'll have to do myself. Maybe get some friends to help me out. Anyway, but all you have to do is provide them with the mailing list. So this is the letter. As you can see, I'll just read it off for you. It has the greeting here, and it says, "Hi, my name is Justin McClelland. I'm writing because I would like to buy your house at, such and such address. I would love to buy soon, or even if you don't plan on selling for a few years." So I added that last statement because not only would I be able to wholesale contracts, I can wholesale option contracts. So if you have a grad student or somebody who knows that they're only going to be in Champaign for 2 or 3 years, they don't want the hassle of selling their house when they're ready to. Maybe they'd be willing to allow me to put an option to buy their house at an agreed date, at an agreed price as well. So that'll allow me to wholesale both of those. And if I go forward, just pay attention to the greeting and the address line. Mail merge with Microsoft Word automatically pulls the information from Outlook and puts it into the specified spots. So all I got to do is hit the print button, and I'll have 900 unique letters. As far as the letter itself, I use Font Generator to make my own handwritten font. Basically, you print out a grid. They give you the sheet of paper. You handwrite letters A through Z, numbers 0 through 9, and a bunch of other punctuation characters. You scan it to their website. If you like the preview, you pay $9.95. You got your own handwritten font. Truth be told, the handwritten font doesn't really look like your own handwriting. I don't care probably how hard you try. You could Google handwritten font and download someone else's for free. Save yourself $10. But if you really want your own, yourfonts.com is your website. So anyway, I'll show you the end result. Here's the letter I just showed you. If I use my handwritten font, and the ink will be in red, and the background will be, it'll have that legal paper background. It'll look something like this. So this is the paper, the actual letter that someone will get in the mail. It'll have a handwritten envelope. So hopefully I can experience what Yellow Letters Complete said, is that 10% to 15% response rate. In my terms, that's 90 to 135 calls. So if I got that many people calling me back, I'm bound to get at least one contract. So
you said maybe, well you crazy, because I know I'm too fly.